Hi, I have watched a YouTube video with KATIE Hopkins in, and it says I literate the things that you can't say. And one of the questions which was asked was this: did you set out to become a person of hate? And I watched her talk back, and she basically pushes it aside, and she actually goes off onto a different point. But the point that I feel that they were trying to actually make is saying that she hates Hyla, she hates the name Hyla, she believes in calling people fat. She believes in doing quite a lot of things in a tough love way. The only thing that I think is KATIE did actually know what she was actually doing. I think her intention was actually to set out to ruffle a couple of feathers and sort of rock the boat and not make things easy, because she wanted to have her opinion, and she wanted to have her opinion on lots of different things too. But as she found out, KATIE could not say exactly what she wanted to say and get away with it all the time. I've looked on the internet, and there have been articles where she's actually been arrested. She had or cautioned, or because I'm sorry, but there are some things you really cannot say. I mean, I think it's mad in one sense that we can't say what all of us want to say all the time, but sometimes KATIE is cruel. I'm sorry, but she actually goes from actually being honest to a swine. I could think of a lot of different words at that point, but I have seen her on Twitter all day long, and what did she put? She put one day, good morning, little chickens, on your way to school. Can your chubby legs reach the gates? And I'm thinking, I'm sorry, KATIE, but there is actually being open and honest, but there's actually being cruel. There is actually taking it a step too far. So in that sense, she has become a woman of hate. Okay, even celebrities on the TV, even pop stars, singers, whatever, they all have a coach to tell people what to say, what not to say, or what they can talk about, or what they can't talk about. Because if, like, I don't know, say Sandra Bullock, yeah, just a name that I can think of, if she went on a talk show, talked about her upcoming film or whatever, she could get sacked. She would not be able to go on it. She would not be able to do that, because there are things exactly like that that you can't come out with. You can't tell people that they are fat. You can't tell people. It's always a Tyler that gets in trouble at school, or a Chardonnay, excuse me, or whatever. Any kid can get told off, alright? And also, she goes on to talk about, this is the woman who is trying to talk to Katie across the radio, and she actually said, what makes you angry? And then Katie was going on about that she's outraged and angry about people who have kids or something, and they park in disabled spots, that they can't just go and walk to the store. And she's outraged at this, and she's outraged at that. And then the radio interviewer asked her if she actually gets hurt by people and by people's comments and what they come out with, and she actually said no. And you know what? I actually believe her. I actually do. Or say her husband or her daughter turns around and says, you are a horrible, horrible person. Just as something as simple as that. I believe, because that's her husband talking, or her daughter talking, Katie would get really, really hurt. But anybody else, she does not care. To anybody else, she does not care. She's actually untouchable as far as us and the rest of us are aware. But she is human. She does get hurt. But even if she actually did, she's not going to admit it across TV. She's not going to admit it across the radio. She's not going to do that, because you know how many people out there would kill to see her fall. You know how many people would actually say, oh yeah, she deserved that, or this, or whatever. No, she's not gonna do that at all. And if she has a nice, loving side to her, it's actually going to be exposed to the people in her house, like her husband and kids. Apart from her husband and her kids, I don't believe she cares about what anybody else thinks at all. And that is a good way to actually be. Take a note of KATIE Hopkins. Don't care about what anyone around you says at all. Care, of course, about things that your mom and your dad or your husband or your kids are coming out with. as in terms of anybody else out there, she does not care. And also, which is really frustrating and really bugs me, is Katie will say exactly what she wants on her mind at the moment in time, whether it's good, bad, or whatever. And Katie was on Loose Women, and she was talking to Colleen. And you know, if anyone watches Loose Women at all, Helene is a really nice lady. She's a really nice, bubbly lady, and what she was trying to do was, when she was talking to Katie at that moment in time, what she wanted was for Katie to turn around and say, perhaps I should not have said this or that. You know, because it's frustrating that she won't actually apologise. And the reason I think she's not going to apologise at all is because I believe that Katie does not think she is in the wrong at all. And she makes a stand for, there's this guy who spoke about women who work in labs, that a couple of things happen. They either fall in love with this person, or they get upset and they cry on their desks, and the media has actually been on him and honoured him, and he has actually apologised. But Katie makes this point of coming out and saying he did not mean any offence by what he actually said. He was just telling the truth. And this is what I believe as well, why Katie won't change her mind or apologise at all. If she did apologise, it might make her just a tiny bit more likeable. And I don't think she cares about being liked, but I think she wants to be more respected. And as she has talked about in an interview, she has said she thinks more like a man, who she wants to get the end results instead of us girls who moan and we whine to get attention. And even Katie was picked up on this by this comment, because, which is also frustrating at times, because even if you like her as a woman, at times she goes on and on about men, how men are so great, how men are wonderful at this, how men are wonderful at doing this and this. And you know, and considering she's a woman, it's like turning her back on her womanhood, if that makes any sense, because people who are watching her all the time, they get a good image of her, of what Katie puts out. She has talked about online rolling, But also, she says that she's not scared and she's not frightened at all. The stupid thing is, I actually believe her. I actually think Katie has got to a point where she thinks she's absolutely untouchable. Yeah, of course, she's not going to crumble against a person who goes on the internet and threatens to cause her harm. She's not going to be bothered by it because she believes she's going to handle it, she's going to suck it up. And half of the reason this is why she's on Twitter, she's well aware that lots of people aren't going to like what she is going to come out with, but she still does it. And yeah, and that is Katie Hopkins. She can be annoying, but at times I actually do agree personally over a couple of things that she has come out with, even though some of these things I would keep in my head and not broadcast it over the internet, or because then you have to take up the slack of the consequences of the offences that your words or your actions have actually caused. So she doesn't seem to be bothered, and she's not going to apologise by the things that she has come out with at times. And at times it is hard to actually like her at times, but it's I don't think Katie set out to become a person of hate, but that is the way this is actually going.